This is going to be a long video because I'm going to go into extensive details about these particular abilities. Ether Factor, Astral Soul, and Mana Reverie. There will be time skips in the description depending on what you want to see with these three things. These are endgame abilities and they're not easy abilities to make on a unit. On a weapon, I kind of abuse the fact that SAFs can make it a joke. If you haven't seen how I went about it with SAFs, I do have a video talking about it. Check it in the playlist or in the description, or excuse me. Yeah, check it in the playlist description, upper right hand corner. There we go. So, once again, time skips into the description. The first hard ability they introduce, or annoying ability to make, even though it's annoying, I like it, but is Astral Soul. This soul can give you all plus 35 HP, plus 5 PP. By all plus 35, it's to SRT attack, plus 35, SRT defense, plus 35, and then plus 35 dex. Yes, this was the first soul that was introduced into the game that had a very unique formula. And on the screen right now, I did mention it in my soul video when I talk about soul abilities. This is the only soul that will not transfer at, well, there's another soul too, or a couple souls that cannot transfer even with a soul receptor, but this one is the annoying one. Because this is at 10%. It doesn't matter if you have 3 copies of Astral Soul. It's not gonna work. I tried. It does not work. The only way to get it to transfer is either you use the formula I'm gonna tell you guys, or you use a receptor to actually get the Astral Soul to transfer, but you're gambling at a 10%. To make an Astral Soul, you will need 4 Soul Catalysts and a Darkness Soul. Darkness Soul is easy. Getting a soul catalyst is a different story because there's no particular soul that can boost it. There's no ability other than like guidance trainer that can boost it. You can use an ability success booster, but I would say don't just use a 30% or don't use something too expensive. Just use a 30%. And even on a boost week, you can't get this to 100%. I tried with this Affix Simulator. The highest you can get is to a 90, but that's you using a plus 60%, doing it on a boost week of like 10 or 15, and then also having a guidance trainer of what is it, grade 3? And that gives you a passive plus 10 too. That's a lot just to get this thing to a 90%, and I would say if you're gambling, you might as well gamble. So, yeah, and you need 4 of these fuckers. You need 4 of them. It's not just 1. You need 4. So, once you magically get those 4, you just need to create this sort of formula right here, and then you can get Astral Soul at a 60%. This is manageable, because guess what? You can get a plus 40% affix boost in the X Cube shot, and you can make this into 100. Now let me talk about money, because obviously you guys want money, you want more money, so you can do a bunch of stuff. Here's the thing about Astral Soul and Soul Catalysts. They can sell, but it's going to be very specific to someone who needs it, or someone who is aware of their exact need. Now, here's the thing about Astral Soul. It is debatable on if you want to sell it with a bunch of other fixes. Understand that if you do sell it with a bunch of other fixes, let's say you have like Astral Soul with Grand Power or like Mana Reverie or something, it might sell, it might not. It just depends on who wants to buy it and who is willing to pay this much for that particular item. So let me bring this up for example. You can see that this thing costs around, the lowest is 84 million, and this one's 168 million. I would just kind of ignore that, but at the same time there's a reason to why there's a huge price difference. If you look at this particular piece, you can see that Astral Soul and Ether Factor are together. That is important for the formula that I have in mind, or the thing that I kind of mentioned earlier. But this thing is very useful, and depending on how much you're willing to pay or how much you plan to gamble and stuff, you either want to get this piece or you don't want to get this piece. Same can be said with this thing over here. Now this one's actually unique looking at it because it has Reverie Catalyst. I'll talk about why that's important as well. But let's talk about price. So yes, those things could sell, it's just that they need a very specific buyer with that much money. Now you can also check like for 5 slots it's gonna be like that too. So let me go back to that example. If you want to just make an Astral Soul, and I'm kind of glad that I looked at these prices and I realized that it's a bit cheaper and I can actually talk about this. Huzzah. So if you watch my upsliding video in my playlist, you realize that some of the items can actually benefit you if it's at if you before you finalize something. For example, soul catalysts. You need 4 soul catalysts to make an astral soul. Well, 4 soul catalysts plus a darkness soul to make an astral soul. So instead of paying 80 for a million to get to get an astral soul, you could spend roughly below 50 million to get your own astral soul by buying these catalysts at 6 slot that someone already made. You go over here and you type in darkness, so darkness soul shouldn't even cost a lot. It should be like, yeah, you save like a good couple millions right there. Now, granted that, once again, that fodder piece is expensive for a specific reason. Let's say you don't want to actually make the catalyst or the soul, you want to sell the fodder piece. Well, if you were to sell the fodder piece, I would say that it's not going to have that much of a value compared to all those prices. Though soul catalyst at a 6 slot was selling roughly around like 10 mil. So if you look at all these individual souls by itself, you can see that it's not going to add up to 10 mil. So you could use this to your advantage, but once again, it's gambling. And I would say that if you plan to gamble, I would rather gamble at the stuff that I personally have. But it's on you if you want to actually buy the pieces so you can actually do such a thing. And once again, this is situational because this is very specific. Certain people are going to buy it because they have a certain formula in mind. So, are you going to get a lot of money fast? Nope. But can you actually gamble with this and try to earn a profit? Yes. And this was one other ability, double. In all honesty though, in my opinion, I would rather farm for these pieces. I would tend to buy a tiny bit just because I don't have a 6 slot of one particular item, but do I want to buy all of them? Like let's say Loser, Persona, Double Elder, and Apprentice, do I want to buy all of them at a 6 slot? No, if there's one that I need to get, then I will have to buy it, but at the same time I'm not going to do it all the time. I would rather farm for those abilities, and there are certain quests that can actually give you those drops. But I'll save that for a separate video. Let's move on and talk about Ether Factor. Ether Factor is pretty much an ability that can give you all plus 30, HP plus 10, and PP plus 6. You can see it over here. It's not that grand like Astral Soul, but you can't have those two abilities together. You can have Astral Soul and Ether Factor together. There's a certain way to go about it though. To make Ether Factor, you will need 4 Factor Catalysts in the Ether Soul. Now, I wasn't around as much when they introduced this ability. I do not know if Ether Soul can drop as itself, but there is a formula to make Ether Soul. To make Ether Soul, you will need to have 2 of these 3 abilities, Full Vegas, Escard, or Total Soul. Like, if I wanted to take one of them out, it wouldn't change anything. So you'll need those 3 souls. Let me put that back over there. So if anyone wanted to stare at the souls that they need, go ahead and write it down or take a picture or just pause the video here. But when it comes to making the Factor Catalysts, you will need 3 abilities. Yamato Factor, Mother Factor, Deuce Factor. Now, out of all 3 of these abilities, 2 of them are easy to farm and actually just spam, which is Mother and Deuce. That's also an emergency quest that is popping up every now and then on episode 6, or like right now in the Japanese PSO2. Yamato is a questionable one. That one I have not seen in a long time. So this might be a random emergency quest, or you can get triggers to do this. I don't know if the triggers are viable, but yeah, that's the thing. And then once you finalize your abilities, you can see that you can make an Ether Factor at 60%. And it's manageable because you can slap a 40% and you can get it to 100%. Like my previous point, when it comes to Ether Factor, this is also situational. It doesn't matter if you got to finalize for something. It's just that it's very specific. And if someone has a certain formula in mind, they will most likely buy your fodder piece, but it will take some time. As you can see, for a 6 slot Ether Factor, it will be at 42 mil. Now, that piece that we saw earlier is over here. It's at 168 mil. So there's a huge difference because of all the other abilities that are on it. This one's kind of up there because it got Ark's Fever. Now let's say we want the Catalyst instead of the Astral Finalized Soul, or the Astral Finalized ability. Let's do that. Compared to the Astral Soul one, if you decide to do your math real quick, now I did a rough estimation, it's somewhere between 34 million to 40 million. So this does save you a decent amount of Meseta, like a good million or so, but that's it. Do you really want to gamble close to that price? That'll depend on you. So yeah, this is at a 6 slot too. And then let's talk about like the individual stuff. Let's say you want to see Yamato. Yamato might be very pricey because once again, that quest hasn't popped up for it in a while, and it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's actually manageable. So that's the price for that one. And let me pull up. Yeah, these two factors right here, they should be like candy because we have a trigger for them. You can spam that trigger over and over again to get these drops. So it's not that bad. You can technically farm for these pieces. I would say farm for them, and then try to gamble and make them. But once again, it's gonna fall down to who's gonna buy it and who's trying to make what formula. Let's move on to the last ability, Mana Reverie. Mana Reverie is the latest hard soul you can make, and this was introduced in episode 5. This thing can give you plus 50 SRT attack, and it can give you plus 20 HP and PP, plus 4 PP. Unlike the other two, it does not give you a boost to all of your stats. If it did, then that would be a bit broken, but it does not. However, it does emphasize a lot on attack, HP, and PP. Well, not a lot in HP or PP compared to the other two, but it does give you a decent amount for those two stats, HP and PP. Now, to make this thing, you need 4 Reverie Catalysts and an Omega Memoria. You need to make an Omega Memoria. You could technically buy it from the player shop and sell it, but you will have to make it in some way, shape, and form. So let me talk about the Catalyst. Let me talk about Reverie Catalyst. To make a Reverie Catalyst, you will need where the hell are you? Okay, you will need Elder Reverie, Loser Reverie, Progena Reverie, Double Reverie, and Persona Reverie. Most likely, since I mentioned the fact that you can... This one was for Omega, but I think you can also get these abilities too from the regular forms. But here's the thing, you also need to make Omega Reverie. Where the hell did I put you? I wish I could label these, but it does not work. Okay, here's Omega... this is how you make Omega Memoria. You need Omega Reverie, Fabulous Soul, and Historia Soul. Unlike the last soul, Ether Soul, and you having like 2 out of the 3, you need all 3 of these. Because if you don't, then you can't actually make it. So it's a must to actually get both Fabula and Historia to make Omega Memoria. Once you have all those down, you just need to combine your 4 Reverie Catalysts with Omega Memoria to get Mana Reverie at 60%. And then you can get a plus 40, then make it into 100. Alright, so let's talk about its pricing and the market and stuff. So here's the thing about Mana Reverie. Unlike Astral Soul and Ether Factor, I would say avoid finalizing it because there's no way to transfer that Reverie just yet. There is no Reverie receptor as of this date. That might change later, but for now there is not such a thing. But if you look in the market for a 6 slot, you'll see that there's an item that's 10,499,999,998. This is really good in terms of what they finalize it with. It's just that this is very goddamn specific, and in return of getting this finalized spotter piece, you would need to pay this much. I'll let you guys determine if you would do such a thing. I would say I would rather farm for most of those things instead of paying someone, so... But once again, that's my opinion. So let me talk about Reverie Catalyst. This thing will sell. I will explain why at the conclusion of this, or at the roughly around the end of this video, but you can see that these things are selling it at like 9,187,500 Meseta. This is the thing, and if you're debating about using these pieces to actually make your final product, that's all good and dandy. You're actually saving a decent amount of money compared to what you just saw with the 6 slot Mana Reverie that's on sale. And you might be wondering, how much are the fodder pieces in themselves other than making a catalyst and a mana rev? So if you decide to sell Elder Reverie as it is, it will give you a decent profit, but all these other souls, or excuse me, not souls, reveries, will be at a low price. So if you stare at these prices and you stare at the catalyst, you can definitely make, you can try to make a profit with it. It's just that once again you're going to be gambling. So alright, that one I actually need to delete that portion so I can search it up instead. It does that, and then I think I missed one of them. Who did I miss? Did I miss double? No, I think I did double. Did I do double? Was it loser? I can't remember. Yeah, Elder would be the expensive one out of the 5. I did Elder, loser, Progina, double. I think I showed all of them, yeah. So, it will give you a decent profit if you decide to, what is it, if you decide to buy those pieces and try to gamble and try to make a Reverie Catalyst out of 6 slot. However, once again, it depends on you. You're the one to determine if, like, you want to gamble as such a thing, or just find the pieces then gamble, or you might want to just sell the pieces as it is. So I told you guys how to make them and do all that stuff, but here's a question you might have. Why are these abilities popular? Why are some of them popular compared to other ones? And etc, etc. So, here's the thing. Out of all those abilities, one of them stands out very, 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 very greatly, and it fits what people are aiming at, or it fits the certain stats that people usually go for. HP, PP, and attack. Can you guess which one? Mana Reverie. Mana Reverie is able to give you those 3. Not only does Mana Reverie give you a plus whopping plus 50 all across the board, it can offer a bit of HP and PP. It's not high like the Astral Soul in terms of HP, it's not high like the Ethifactor in terms of PP, but instead of giving like plus 35 stats to all and all that, it gives you plus 50 in the attack. A lot of people like going for attack. That's why Mana Reverie is a lot better compared to the other two. The other two, they are a thing, but here's the thing about using those abilities. You need to make them stack. You need to stack on those multipliers, because you don't stack on those multipliers, why the hell did you get such an ability? Now, if it's easy to actually slap on and use and stuff, that's on you, that's how you want to do it. But if you're gonna use something that's gonna stack on a lot of multipliers, you need to emphasize on it. You need to capitalize on it. So, the question is, do you really want to actually make something that's universal? You're okay with making some of these hard-ass abilities? Or are you okay with just capitalizing on one and just emphasizing on the 3 certain stats? HP, PP, and or attack. Yes, this has been a thing ever since, I don't know, I would say the beginning of time, but attack has been emphasized on heavily along with PP. HP is there every now and then, especially if you want more HP on your character. It may be a bit tanky. Now, I know that there are certain tank builds or tank affixes that will make you literally a goddamn tank. You can survive 1 hits, but that was in the past. I don't know about now. So, let me show you my unit piece. If you haven't realized, these goddamn abilities are all my goddamn units. I made these things. Now, did I create the formula in the first place? Hell fucking no. I'm not gonna take credit for it. It's whoever decided to do it, but the thing is, this thing was circulating around, and I realized that when it comes to making these final fixes, they were annoying to do. Because here's one giant factor when it comes to doing such a thing. This kind of follows one of the rules that I didn't really mention in the basics, but you would have noticed it when you played around with a bunch of abilities. When it comes to something of the same name ability, for example, let's talk about catalysts. You got 3 different, or a couple different type of catalysts. You got the Factor Catalyst, the Soul Catalyst, and the Reverie Catalyst. You can only have one type of catalyst on a certain fodder piece. So, if I have Reverie Catalyst here, I cannot... Excuse me, that's the wrong one. That's a reset. I was like, wait, why did it go through? If I have Reverie Catalyst over here, I cannot have a Soul Catalyst. So, making this formula the normal way is not a thing. Also, you'll notice that Crack 5 is there too. Yeah, that was a big shot you put, but I'll talk about that later in my other video. But you cannot have all 3 of these the normal way. You had to do it in an indirect way, which involves a receptor. I am going to make a video briefly talking about it, but I'm also going to make another video talking about why receptors are important in a way, especially since Western PSO2 does not have PSO2 ES. I don't know how Western PSO2 is going to actually fill in the gap for some of the receptors you get from PSO2 ES. It's up in the air. They might have something in-game for that. They might do some sort of tweak or I don't know, something. But yeah, you cannot have this ability without gambling and also getting those receptors. You need a soul receptor and a factor receptor to get these two to transfer, and then also have a mana rev. Once again, I'll show you guys the formula for this, and when it comes to me making these units, obviously it's not 6 slot, 7 slot, it's not godlike, but I wanted to make them because I wanted to emphasize on all these other stat multipliers. Do you really want to do this? Depends on how you play. If you want to emphasize on attack and spamming a bunch of techniques and photon arts, this isn't for you. You can definitely push this higher past the 200s and go for 300s or even 400 if you know the right formula for it. For me, I'm okay with these. Since I realize that they have a transferability option now, I'm gonna go crazy and try to gamble and make something that's all-rounded, but at maybe a 6 slot. I don't know, I'm debating about it. I have enough money to do such a thing. I will be able to farm for some of the materials again. Well, hopefully I have time to farm for it, I don't know. It's just that this is what I wanted, and this was my end game goal as an affixing, to combine all three of these things and emphasize on it. Yes, this isn't the best unit piece. They released Doombreak 3 recently, and I kind of wish that, that was over here compared to this, because that would push it by another plus 5, I think? Yeah, because that thing can give plus 30 and then plus 1. For Doombreak 3, it gives plus 30 RT as attack, and then it gives plus 4 PP. That's a bit of a 5, and it wouldn't change as much, but yeah, these are the final fixes I wanted to go for. But this is very Godnest specific in those who want to actually emphasize on all these multipliers. If you are, once again, into HP, attack, PP, ignore Astral Soul and Ether Factor. If you can put those onto your units, that's great. But this is just something that I wanted to do, along with some other people that wanted to actually combine all those hardcore abilities. The process to making them, it's not hard. Once again, I'll make a separate video talking about it. It's really simple. It's just that you're gambling. It's hardcore gambling. So, yeah, that's it for this video. If you got any questions, comments, concerns, put it down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.